and if you're keeping apprised to all of the things that are going on in our crazy world, just so you have, sometimes knowledge can help us cope better with our clients and navigating what we can offer, or even just the solutions, finding solutions, right? So let's see here. I am just going back here. I'm just getting my Instagram started live. Good morning, Jessica. Good morning, Kristen. Good morning, Teresa. I'm going to invite everybody up here. Whoever wants to come up, invite to speak. I don't know how to make a moderator. Let me see if I can do this. Invite to speak. And let's see what we can do here. So I'm going to end this. Good morning. I'm on Facebook Live. And what is going on? Oh, here it is. Here's my Facebook Live. We're going to just make that a full screen. All right. So the two articles that I've found that I kind of think go together. One is talking about our housing boom, the shortage in product out there, and the other is talking about mental health awareness and how women CEO and founders are caring for themselves. So just let me go in here, click this, and I don't know. Jessica, you're in here. I can't seem to get this thing going on my Instagram. So today we're just going to skip Instagram, do this right to Facebook and Clubhouse. Okay, so the two articles I'd like to discuss today is, let me just give you my thoughts. One is I found on thebalance.com, and it's called Bored to Death. And it's talking about our lumber shortage and how and why that is increasing values and kind of driving some of this demand, and what has contributed to the lumber shortage. This is what's really fascinating. The second story is on the zoereport.com, and I find all this information by going through Flipboard and just looking at who's writing it. So we got Dick and Hyatt and Ashley Tibbett are the two authors that I'm talking about today. So let's just real quickly, briefly dive into, what has cranked my crank for 22 years, real estate. As a veteran real estate agent of 22 years and having the opportunity and the gift of being able to generate 6 and 7 figures in that income, in that timeline. And on top of it all, raising 3 children and being a community activist. Real estate's always something that kind of sparks my interest. Who's moving there, where, why, so forth and so on. But in this article on Bored to Death on thebalance.com, they talk about lumber and how lumber has literally gone up over 3 times pricing wise in under a year. So we've gone from the average home. So they quoted a builder in Boise, Idaho. So I don't know if you're tracking who and what is going on around the world. Meridian, Idaho is like the 4th fastest growing market in the United States. So talking to a builder there is probably a good idea. So they talked to this builder and they said last year, a lumber package was $30,000 for an average home. This year it's just over $100,000. So who pays that? The buyer pays it, right? So if the buyer's paying for the lumber package, it's going to increase. And I know on a front line, working with a real estate agent in Boise, and my cousin is a mortgage broker in Boise, we're seeing this starting to impact affordability. People are having to move further outside the cities. So when we look at this is because of a couple different things. Over the years, there's been significant tariffs on Canadian lumber. So Canadians, lumber just sits on Canada's side, which isn't a bad thing. They can still build homes affordably. But the reality is that we can't continue to go this way. So we are going to see some reliefs. They're proposing some reliefs by cutting the tariffs by nearly 60%, going down to the states, so we can relieve some of the home builders and meet demands. But this demand was not anything new. And much like women founders and CEOs and the mental health challenges we face and everything, none of this is new information. They were predicting a housing shortage 3 years ago in the United States before the pandemic. So now we just compound everything with so many different. We have lumber increases because the tariffs went from 9% to 24% over the last 3 years. I'm not sure. Like there's some odd psychology that foreign lumber is being, supplemented or subsidized in some way, and the reality is, it's just the American dollar is strong. So you got to choose. Do you have a weak dollar and everything else is a great price, or do you have a strong dollar and everything else is an even better price, but then it conflicts with your local market, and then when the local market can't meet demand, now you sit here and you have to actually go back to the drawing board and say, hey, we're sorry, we're no longer going to put 24% in, we're going to reduce those tariffs. So that is one issue, along with the fact that money's free. Money is free. Hello, money is free right now. So, I mean, when we look at it, the banks are giving away money. Here's an interesting stat for you. Did you know that 1 out of every 4 homeowners in LA own more than one property? Interesting stat. So, are those vacation properties? Probably not. They're probably rental investment properties. Because of the actual core cost of building a home, I don't foresee housing prices going down. I do see that we're already starting to see trends across North America where it's softening a bit. It's not slowing. It's just it's not as hard edged. It's not as, get in there and beat the other 20 people down with a club so I can get that house. It's now, beat the other 2 people down with a club and not so I can get the house. So when we look at this, and we're going to compound this with the female real estate agents. So 64% of real estate agents licensed in the United States are female. Yet they're doing a lower percentage of dollar revenue than males. So why is that? Is it that, they're not as aggressive, or they're not as technology savvy? So, and we've been 100% dependent pretty much for everything in real estate through technology, because there has been no shaking hands at the grocery store, or even going to the grocery store for a lot of people. There hasn't been the opportunity to engage in a face-to-face kind of scenario that a lot of women excel at. They're the rainmakers on the team, and they get out there and they truly want to be engaged, and they're in it for the service of the client and not just the transaction. And that tends to be the difference between male and female service within real estate. Is one is transactional and one is heart-centered or inspirational. So when we look at how are we weathering this crazy market, and how are we keeping our buyers engaged when we just lost out on the 6th house? And this is even a greater issue for agents who are in like cities like Meridian, Idaho, and Boise, Idaho, or we go down to like Austin, Texas, where it is like crazy on fire. So how are women taking care of themselves? I think the self-care for women is almost in many ways more important than men put on it. And I don't know. No, let me back up. I do not believe it's more important for women than men. I believe women try to find an emotional center and balance far more readily than men do, whereas men are not wired, but taught to be more transactional and more financially positioned. So a lot of men, if you ask them, what's your goals? What's your passion? They don't know anything aside from their pocketbook. And whereas women were starting to really speak up and say, this is my goal, this is my passion. So this is a great article. I would love to recommend to all the women, and I will be posting this on my Facebook. And on Instagram, so you guys can actually track down these articles and read both, so you can get a bit better understanding of what's contributing to the craziness of the real estate market, and then read the stories of some of these women. It's so nice to hear other founders, women, and if you're in real estate, you are a founder. You are a founder of your own business. You are not a salesperson. You are a business person. And I want to make that very clear. I've had some discussions around this, and it's like, you know what? Nobody's creating my brand. Nobody's sending me a check because I had a sick day, right? It's not a job. It's not a sales position. You are a business person. So the ZoeReport.com interviewed, I think it was 9 women in this article. And these are successful women and their talk on mental health. So just so you know, May is Mental Health Month. And so when we're looking at the craziness of the world, I think it's really important for us to actually look at the leaders in this world and how are they navigating the mental health of this craziness. So the Zoe report talks about, they interviewed Tisha Thompson, and I love reading these things because I find these women that I never knew about, and the beauty of this is Tisha is the founder of Lys Beauty. Now, LYS. I actually seen these products at the store. Never even thought about the person who developed them, right? But you get this great article of Tisha and how she got to this success level. And I believe that what some of the things that she has said actually will resonate with every successful female in real estate. She says very clearly and unashamedly, I go 100 miles an hour. 100 miles an hour. And, sometimes I think I go at quantum speed, and other times I think I hit a brick wall and I'm just like at a snail's pace. And sometimes you are going at quantum speed and you feel like you're at the snail's pace. But she talks about that and simple things. I love how the pandemic has brought us back in alignment with doing the little things for ourselves. So obviously, when we look at a woman that is developing an amazing cosmetic line and skincare line, she talks about taking care of herself and giving herself a manicure, giving herself a facial, taking that time to do the ritual. It's not even about the facial. It's about the ritual around the facial. Most people run around and they just throw some, splash some water and stuff on. Maybe not most people. Maybe it's just me. But, learning a ritual around taking that 2 minutes or that 3 minutes of self-care can actually help slow and reset your brain. She also talks about, she has her own specialized workout. I'd love to find out what that workout is. If anybody has a way that I could work out without actually working, I am so there. And then, the little indulgence. Now, this is fascinating. The little indulgence of a glass of wine. It's fascinating because I know myself, I fell into the habit of, it went from 1 day a week to 2 days a week to 3 days a week having a glass of wine, and 4 days a week and 5 days a week. And it got to about 3 months ago during COVID, because I was using COVID as an excuse. I need this glass of wine at 6 o'clock because it breaks my day off. It sets a different pace. It says I'm at the work of my day, end of work day, so I'm going to have this glass of wine. So I'm working on. I'm back to 1 day a week, and finding different things. So I'm reading a lot of these articles to find leadership in my own personal self-care, and I do recommend reading this article because these women are, they're just like you. That's the beauty of this. We look at these women that are being interviewed and have these great stories. And I guarantee you that author, that writer, that journalist got a hold of you and your story would be just as impressive. There's no question in my mind whatsoever. And then they interviewed also Alyssa Wasco. I had never heard of this gal. However, I am going to buy a couple of her shirts. She does the coolest kind of loungewear, comfort wear, just beautiful stuff in all shapes and sizes and colors. The name of her company is Donnie. If it Donnie, Donni. Has anybody heard of that one? I haven't. I went down. She's been around for a while. She's got a great following. It's amazing what you learn when you read. And she comes down to walking the dog. Now, my husband says he'd like to. He said I should go for a walk with him, and I'm sitting in the back of my head after I'm reading this, going, "Am I part of his mental health?" And it's like, am I like walking the dog because I do go a little bit slower. Um, and I don't like going off terrain, so I'm not like a park runner. I like to just stay to the sidewalks, and I am a fair weather walker. I want to make that very clear. If it's too hot or too cold, if there's too much snow, if there's anything going on, I'm not going for a walk. I'll go on my treadmill and I'll go up and down the stairs. There's a reason why my office is upstairs and the kitchen is downstairs. It makes me put some effort into reading the fridge. But and then what I found fascinating. One of her self care tips is not only making your breakfast, but taking time to eat it. I'm reading that, and then it's triggered the thought of I interviewed Nicole Briggs, who is Real Estate Talk for Women. And she is a coach out of St. George, just south of Salt Lake City in Utah. And just a dynamo of a woman. She's got 4 kids, and her husband has had to travel a lot for his work. So she has, over the years, built this really great real estate practice. And if you're not following her as a real estate agent, I would absolutely suggest following her. She's got a lot of really down to earth, great insight and advice. And if you're looking for a voice to follow, there's lots of women out there who are willing to lead. So, but she talks about, she very unapologetically will say, her morning ritual is she goes and gets her coffee, and then she crawls back into bed. As she drinks her coffee, she will not get out of bed, answer her phone, or do anything until she finishes that 1 cup of coffee. Now, she does get up a little bit earlier so she can engage in that one self-care practice that kicks off her day. But, I'm like going, ooh, I could totally do that because I'm a major tea drinker, and I have such a comfortable bed. I mean, my one great indulgence is a killer mattress, and then I got this thing that looks like, anybody here who is a mom has seen Monsters Inc. I have this blanket that my kids they call it Sully because it's a big furry blue blanket. And they said, boy, that's the same color as Sully, Mom. It's a good thing we aren't small anymore. Otherwise, there could be some issues around this. But, so when we go back to this, you cannot control the real estate market. We can only navigate the real estate market and interpret it to the best of our ability and share that information with our clients. Like I said, I don't think we're going to see housing prices pull back any. I do, however, believe that we will see housing prices soften a little. We're already starting to see, like here in the Calgary real estate market, we're already starting to see that it's starting to slow a little. We are still getting like really awesome competing offers on the really great listings. That means, your carpet has to be bang on, the staging has to be bang on, like everything has to be really the ideal situation for somebody to come in and purchase that home and put competing offers in. However, the homes that are in a little bit challenged, like they're worn or they're tired or they're not the greatest location or they have one too many animals, or a rental property even, those homes we're starting to see sit a little bit longer on the market. And that to me is a real indicator as to where we're going. I think we're moving, hopefully, fingers crossed, back into a balanced market in most markets. I think the areas like Austin and the areas like, there's a lot of areas around like Charleston and such that are just, the market is crazy. Part of that also is probably contributed to by good weather. A lot of the areas that are high traffic and high demand areas have phenomenal weather year round. So these are, especially during COVID, when you're looking for opportunities to expand your world beyond your four doors, the only world available to us through COVID was the outdoors. And, the truth is, no matter what anybody says, being outdoors when it's minus 30 and you can freeze your nose off is not the most ideal option just for a day-to-day fun. I mean, if you're out there for a specific reason, like climbing a mountain or, skiing or something like that, great. But if you're just going out to take a walk around the block, I can think of much better weather and much better conditions. So, ladies, do take time, read the zoereport.com on successful women mental health first. It really is a great read. And, start following some of these women, because if they're practicing and sharing, there may be something you can learn and then pay forward. Really important that instead of walking around with hands out, we walk with a hand up. We're helping the sister next to us, the woman next to us, because, I'm going to be discussing as Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, different articles I find, but articles that are fascinating me is the she economy and the she session and where we were at before the pandemic and where we're at today based on world analysis of economic impact to women. And these are really important things for us to think about and talk about, because as women in real estate, first of all, we get the pleasure and honor of being able to be part of people's journey, no matter how amazing it is or how hard it is. I, in my lifetime, have had to close out homes due to clients passing away. I've had the honor of being invited to weddings and the gift of going to baby showers. The not so fun part of helping to navigate divorce. But I've done all this because I have been in real estate and I've had the opportunity to walk, hip to hip, side to side with people who are going through huge life changes. Because moving and opening one door and closing another, those are opening chapters and closing chapters of people's life stories. And I get the opportunity of being part of that. And in doing so, I need to ensure that we're constantly moving forward, that we are creating an economy, because we deserve that. I'm going to challenge every woman out there to find, this week, next week, another leader that is female in real estate. Unfortunately, 70% of all of if you take a look at the top 30 real estate coaches in North America, they're men. And yet women are impacting 90% of real estate, residential real estate decisions are impacted or driven by women. And 63% of the license holders in the United States are women. So why do we as women continually flock to men to tell us how to serve women? So nothing against, I am a huge Brian Buffini fan. I love everything he talks about. Hats off, hands down, I believe one of the best coaches in the industry. However, I guarantee you there's somebody that is in your community that is a little more accessible that you can reach out to, that is a bit more affordable, that is teaching and sharing all of the same practices. Not saying get rid of Buffini, because his Pinterest site, and if you, this is your tip of the day. If you have not been on Buffini's Pinterest, awesome, great free downloads, great ideas around, client engagement and pop buys and things like that. But find somebody local, give yourself a little bit of challenge there and expand your world. We've had our world shrink so drastically over the last 18 months that now that we're opening back up, do it with intention. Do it with intention. I want to find out, let's see who Teresa is. Teresa, good morning, a 3 times business owner. And, California, property manager, a mom, I get it. A mom, you got 2 kids there. But yeah, I am just going to be closing off my video here on Facebook, and I encourage everybody, and I'm going to be staying in Clubhouse, so you don't have to go anywhere, Teresa. I'd love to share with you and find out what you're thinking in your market, because this is how I learn. But I am going to close off my Facebook Live here. I want to thank everybody who did join me today. I am looking, if you've got an article that you come across that you think is absolutely phenomenal, just send it to me at hello@resilientseries.com. Visit my website at resilientseries.club. You can visit me here in Clubhouse, resilientseries.club. Club. And Instagram is Resilient Series. I'm just so easy to find. I'm so easy to find. Sometimes I wish I was a little harder to find for my children, because they're like, Mom, when are you making dinner? It's like, you are 23. You can make dinner. But that's a story for another day. And, breaking bad habits that we picked up during COVID. So I look forward to chatting with everybody. Do send me the articles that you find fascinating. I'd love to chat about these, and I'll be popping over to Clubhouse for the next little while. And just come find me. I'd love to chat with you. And stick around, Clubhouse. I'm just shutting off my Facebook now. So let's shut this down. I'm not the most technology savvy, fastest person you'll ever meet.